Raz. Okay, hi everyone. If there's someone live watching this, I know that you are all busy doing your own Christmas and New Year's stuff, but this stream will be available for you to watch after this is over. So I will add this video to the Q&A sessions playlist that I made on YouTube, and this will be available for you to watch, not as a public video, so you have access to it, but all YouTube people do not have access to this video. Okay, so this Q&A will be a quick one. I have some questions I got from you, but mostly I want to do a kind of summary and a short update on the things that I've managed to finish in 2018, and about the things that we are planning to do with Kana in 2019. And I just uploaded a new YouTube video to the channel. This will be the last video for this year, but the channel already has a lot of videos. From what I saw on my channel, on the statistics of my channel, I managed to upload almost 4 videos per month if you count in the live painting sessions and live Q&A sessions that I did. It was even more than 4 videos per month this year, and I'm really pleased to see that the channel has grown a lot, because it already has more than 100,000 followers, subscribers. I don't like the word follower, subscribers on YouTube, which is really nice, because I'm glad to see that a lot of people using YouTube still wants to see this kind of content. But I want to keep the content as I usually do, so just my art being kind of filmed and shown on YouTube. But because of your support, I managed to keep doing the videos. I managed to put more time into the production. I managed to buy some software. This year I switched from Adobe Premiere to Apple's Final Cut Pro and Motion, and I spent some time learning Motion and learning Final Cut Pro. That's why in the latest videos there are some new things that you can see on YouTube, like in the Tokyo by Night at Night video, there is like this kind of weird opening logo, and I did this in Motion. In today's video, which is the manga background by Ink, I did this kind of Adobe, which is going to be more expensive even next year, as the rumor says. So I hope that I will be able to make videos more efficiently and not using so much money on them, so I can spend your Patreon support on different things. For example, this printer here was bought because of your support on Patreon, so I was able to make better quality prints of Tokyo at Night series and also Tokyo Storefronts, because I'll be doing the Tokyo Storefronts prints also with this printer because it's a lot better than the Epson printer that I was using for printing stuff for my online store. And also we decided with Kana that because we are doing some more videos outside, we are filming more things like sketching sessions outside, and we are filming more things like just video blogish kind of things like location hunting for the Tokyo at Night series and all kinds of things. We decided to make you less, how do you call it, not to make you car sick. So we bought this thing, which is not a box, which is a gimbal thing. So with this stabilization thing, we'll be able to make more interesting video trickery, so you will not get car sick when we are filming outside. So you can we already filmed a lot of stuff with this, but I have to wait for the release because it's from a project that I cannot release yet on YouTube. But we did some location hunting and we took a lot of video using an iPhone and this gimbal thing. So you'll be able to see a lot of smooth outside video on my YouTube channel. Kana is helping a lot filming using this thing. She is getting really good at using this and the iPhone to take interesting videos. So I'm kind of excited about stuff. I'm also going to try to use this as a device to do nice pan and time-lapse videos, so you can see how I work from a little bit more interesting angles. By the way, this is just like a thing that you put your iPhone here and it makes it stable while you walk. So we decided to buy this to make our YouTube videos more smooth. Me, myself, and Kana also do easily get dizzy and car sick when we see videos from like handheld cameras. And this is why this is also for us, because I got dizzy and car sick few times when I was editing my own videos. So I hope that this will also kind of negate this effect. I also will be doing some tests of new watercolor sets because of some projects and because of just companies that wanted to get in touch and wanted me to test their watercolor sets. I don't do reviews of watercolors, so I'll probably paint things with those watercolor sets and I will tell you what I think about those. I have one set of Mielo watercolors, I have some other sets from Italy, and I will also test the Royal Talens watercolors that are a Japanese brand. I still don't have them, but I've been promised a set of 48 colors that I'll be able to test and show you the results. This is interesting because it's another brand that I can just buy in Japan that I had no pleasure to use yet, so I'm kind of excited about this. Okay, and about 2018, this year was really intensive in work for me because it started with the Susume Carolina animation. I was not expecting to find myself in the position of doing animation again so soon after leaving the animation company I was working at. So having to direct a short animation was a really interesting and nice experience for me, I think. I was doing this together with Studio Colorido, which was really lucky because I was asked to do this animation to support Carolina, who is the first foreign female Japanese shogi player, so Japanese chess player. and I was not able to do this alone because it was a longish 5 minutes animation. So I was looking for an animation studio that would help me do this project, and I was really lucky because Studio Colorido was just in between jobs, so just between doing a movie of their own. So I was able to collaborate with them, and I did most of the backgrounds. Laura Heikala did some backgrounds for me also, and all of the animation was done by the Studio Colorido, which is a studio of great quality that I like, and I was happy that I was able to direct one animated movie, even though it's just a short one. So I could push kind of the animation industry in a direction that I would like it to go. We have been talking with Kana about this for some time now, but I will leave this for later. And also the second thing is, of course, the Tokyo Storefronts book. This is without the dust jacket. I use this as my reference book, so I don't have the dust jacket on. And the book actually went into 7th printing, and currently it's on 20,000 books sold to the stores. So this is really positive kind of shock for me, because the book for an album, for an art album that has like illustrations and is color and costs a little bit more, sold a lot of copies. The publisher is aiming for about maybe not double that, but maybe 30,000 copies. But I'm really pleased with the result, and the publisher is also pleased with the result of this book. And this is also thanks to you, because you pre-ordered the book on Amazon and shared the information about the book, and shared it with your friends and bought the book, so it sold well. And this is why I have the chance to do my second book, the Tokyo at Night, on which I'm working right now actually. Today I'm really happy because yesterday I finished the 10th illustration for the Tokyo at Night book. I wanted to do 10 big paintings for the book until the end of this year, and I managed to. So I'm happy because I was able to fulfill the kind of plan that I had for the pictures for this book. And the shape of the book is still kind of changing. It probably will be published about fall next year, because these paintings take a lot of time and a lot of effort to do, and also have a lot of impact on my kind of well-being. With the Tokyo at Night Storefronts book, I could do one painting per day, and then rest 2 days, and then do another painting while doing other stuff like YouTube and other illustrations. But with this series, doing a illustration like this, or a spread that has like 2 pages, so it's even bigger than this one, takes me more than 3 days sometimes. And these are 3 days of constant work and of constant concentration. I have to focus really to not to do any mistakes here. So these illustrations take a lot more time and effort than we expected. So the book will be later next year than we expected, about fall next year. And I want to do about 50 pieces for this book, but probably 30 will be like the big ones, and there will be other things like comic and short, like spot illustrations and tutorials and other things, maybe an interview. But this is still the shape of the book is still kind of flowing, is changing. So next year, early next year, I'm meeting with my editor and with the designer of the book again, and to kind of make it more concrete, so I can focus on the work on doing only what's necessary for the book. So I'm not doing any unnecessary work, and this will be the main thing that I'll be doing next year. I also have a new project that I was asked to do actually, and this will be done using color inks in the first half of next year also. So this will be like the second thing I'll be doing parallel to my book, and I'll be able to show the videos of me doing this later next year also. And I'll be using color inks, a lot of color inks for this project, and this will be actually the first time I'm doing anything with colored inks, so I'm kind of excited about that also. The colors I already tested are really vibrant and really interesting, but they kind of handle differently than watercolors, so I'm really excited about that, and I want to get my hands on the inks and start painting as soon as I can. We also are doing the tests for the comic. I already uploaded first video of me doing stuff for the comic today. This is actually a test for the comic. I did this using just black ink, but as I said in this video, this background actually was too detailed and too realistic. It looked like a photo that has been like put through a filter, so I'll probably not use this style. This is a Patreon only thing. I already did a second one, which is this one. I used my blue waterproof ink, and this time tried to keep the details to reasonable minimum, and also used lines. I also used line work to make it more kind of comic like. This I'll probably make also a video about, or it will be a part of a different video, but there will be more comic stuff coming next year. This is because, as I said in my previous post on Patreon, we have with Kana a possibility, a chance of publishing our comic in some of the Japanese comic magazines, but I can't tell you more yet. But also this is because I really want to shift my work into more storytelling territory next year. This year I focused a lot on the kind of technical part of my watercolor painting. I did a lot of shops, I did a lot of night scenes. I will still be doing a lot of night scenes for the book, but I want to ultimately be able to do more storytelling with my pictures, with my illustrations. This was more prominent in my illustration series, like the Yokohama series or the Bicycle Boy series, so I want to kind of get back to this storytelling thing more. I started to do the illustration series with the Arakawa train line in Tokyo, so I want to continue this also. I will probably use the Mielo watercolor set for this, but generally I want to try to do more storytelling next year, more character designs, more comic attempts, maybe some short comics for you to read for free if you are a Patreon supporter, and for like really small money if you are not. So if I will have some free time from my main projects, I would like to do some short comics also, maybe with Kana together or by myself. And this is this kind of a shift towards more storytelling things than just technically better and better like cityscapes and landscapes with watercolors. I will of course do backgrounds and do paint stuff with watercolors, but I want to practice the things that I think that I lack still. So especially characters and character acting with characters, not animation, maybe also, but conveying feelings and emotions and kind of freezing a cinematic frame. The other thing that I want to try is a more cinematic look in my works. I would like to do more cinematic looking watercolors and also digital works and maybe gouache or something like that. So more paintings that have this kind of it looks like it was taken from an animation movie or just a movie kind of look. This is also a thing that I would like to be able to do better. So showing depth and showing atmosphere of a scene better is also on my to-do list. Okay, some questions. Christopher Giffard says, do you get a new camera for live streaming? It looks great. No, I'm using my Panasonic Lumix G7 for this. This is the camera that I use for my usual filming of stuff. So all the YouTube videos that I've made for about a year, I think, are made with this camera. And this camera has a nice feature, an HDMI output, so you can connect it to your television set, for example. But if you use a capture device, so something that converts HDMI to USB, you can connect it also to the computer. I'm using something that's called a Camlink, and it makes the camera visible to the computer as if it's just usual USB camera. So it has a really nice depth of field and really nice quality to the image because it's just almost a DSLR camera that I'm using as a webcam. So I'm also using this for all my live streams, and for now it's been really great. The only thing is that I'm still using it on the batteries. So one battery lasts like an hour and a half of recording or streaming. So I have to swap batteries or just the screen goes dead. And I will be probably trying to buy adapters so I can use the camera constantly without worrying about the batteries. But I haven't done that still. I'm really doing live streams or painting sessions that last longer than 2 hours, so I can do it just on one or two batteries. I have like 3 batteries and they look like this, so I can swap them even during a live session. Okay, so I also got one question here. Okay, it's also from Christopher, and he asks, do you usually spend the New Year's with Kana's family? And the answer is yes. And in Japan, there is no real Christmas. Most of the Christmas is only like event for couples and families that they get together and have a dinner or something like that. But the New Year's is more Christmassy in Japan than Christmas. So everyone goes for holidays for a few days, or they go to their families, to their family homes for a day or two to have a nice New Year's dinner, watch television together, go to the shrine first day in the morning on the first. So it's more kind of Christmassy than actually Christmas. And we are going with Kana to her family for New Year's each year, and we are actually staying with them for like one day, which is really nice. And I'm this year I'm really looking forward to these like 2 days of rest, and rest from my art and rest from my internet stuff, because I'm kind of tired. These Tokyo at Night paintings, again, they take a lot of effort and a lot of kind of strain on my back and eyes. So even though I try to kind of space them in time, so I'm not doing them constantly. I try to do them for like 3 days and then rest for like 2-3 days, do other things, and then go back to the next one. Even though I try to do this, I'm kind of tired. So I'm actually looking forward to rest for the 2 days and eat good food. I'm actually baking lasagna right now in kitchen, so the smell is kind of wafting from the kitchen, and I'm really hungry. So we are taking part of the lasagna to Kana's parents, and I'm eating part of the lasagna when we finish this live stream. So yes. Okay. Is it difficult to film white paper with it? Do you do lots of fiddling with white balance? It's actually not hard to film white paper. The problem is with sketching. When I'm sketching, I don't do really strong lines. Usually I do really light sketch. Which is really hard to film, because even in the newest video that I uploaded today, you can see that my sketch is really light, and the line gets kind of lost in the texture of the paper and the shadows. So I really try to kind of come close to the sketch and film from really close up, and this is what I can do with this camera. I cannot do this with my iPhone, for example. So having a camera that actually has good lens and zoom helps a lot, and it helps to film all kinds of difficult places, and helps to zoom on details, and helps to zoom on the paper and the quality of the paint and line. So it's actually really good. I'm really happy with the camera. I recommended it to some people, and already a few artists that I know that do videos of their work started to using this camera because it's so versatile. For example, Laura Heikala bought this camera, and she's really happy with this. So it's not so hard to film white of paper. I don't do any editing of the video on the camera. I do all the edition on using Final Cut Pro, and with this also I do only some curves and adjustment of colors, and that's it actually. Okay. Do you have any art related New Year's resolutions? I already talked about this earlier in this session, so maybe you can go back, but I'll just answer your question really briefly. I want to do more characters, I want to do more storytelling, I want to do less detailed but more kind of emotional work, so kind of go back to my illustration series. I want to do more comics, maybe some short comics to learn better storytelling, because this is the thing I lack. Based on my Yuragi comic, I would like to be more smooth at storytelling. So these are things that I would like to try. Also, I'll be using some new tools. I'll be using color inks. I'll be using a lot of new watercolors. So these are the things that I would like to try art-wise. More characters. This is a big thing for me. I would like to be better at line drawing also. So I'll be doing more of this also. I actually started a new kind of sketchbook. I'm using this really flimsy Moleskine one, which is flimsy enough that I'm not afraid of kind of spoiling it. And I already started with some line drawings that are just kind of a practice for me. So I would like to fill this sketchbook as soon as I can. かなちゃん、僕の手帳ちょうだい。And I also got a really nice planner notebook kind of thing from Kana, which has your standard kind of calendar part with a calendar, but also has this kind of dotted paper part, which I really like, and it handles ink and pens kind of well. But I'm going to try to use it to do some idea gathering and story making for next year. I hope that I can come up with some interesting stories for comics and short comics and illustration series and maybe picture books or something like that. This is something I always wanted to do, but I never kind of put enough time to just sit down and think about a nice story about something that would be interesting enough to make a comic about. So I want to also put more time into my kind of story making thing. So yes, this also has about 100 pages of blank paper. So I would like to fill all 100 pages of blank paper in this notebook next year. So I'll have a lot of ideas and kind of brainstorming ideas that I can use for some interesting stories. So if someone comes to me and goes like, we would like you to make a short animation movie, do you have any interesting ideas? I'll be like, I have about 2 good ideas or 3. So but yeah, I have to first make a lot of ideas and then pick the nice ones. So this is also a New Year's resolution for me, art wise. Okay. Valentin asks, what do you like the most about living in Japan? The least? Currently, what I can think about is that we could go with Kana to Tokyo, that we could stay late until like 10 or 1 a.m. and go to places with a camera and a, how do you call it, gimbal thing, and film and take photos, and we were kind of more or less safe. Of course, we try not to get into any dangerous places, or we don't go into any dangerous places if we can help. And we had some people with us also. On the first location hunting we had the television crew. On the next location hunting we will have the guys from the publishing company that are actually making the book. So we are not alone, but even though this is a nice part about living in Japan, that you can just go outside and do some photos and it actually is okay. And the least currently, um, this is actually the thing that I was talking earlier in this stream, is the kind of direction in which the animation and the comic industry is kind of evolving. Um, More animation than comics, unfortunately. We were really upset yesterday with Kana because just on Japanese news there was like a new news article about a new animation series of 6 episodes that will be using newest animation techniques to recreate the look of high school girl students' tights. And this will be actually the point of the 6 episode OVA animation that will be screened somewhere and in TV. And the director of this animated series calls himself a pervert, and he's kind of proud about it on his Twitter. And we are not really pleased with some things that are becoming kind of mainstream. So we would really like to kind of push the animation industry and the comic industry in a little bit different direction that it's going right now. It's this kind of push towards things that will bring money to the animation studio for sure if they make this movie or series or something like that. So if the project has a lot of followers on Pixiv and it will make a lot of money and it will sell a lot of goods, and then it gets an okay. But for stories that are a little bit more ambitious and that are less mainstream and have more difficult stories, like for example the animation about この世界の片隅, so in the corner of this world, I think in English it was, which is a more ambitious and difficult movie. They were forced to gather the money for the whole production thing by Kickstarter and stuff like this. So we are kind of not pleased about where the actually money is going and where it's not. So yeah, we were kind of discussing this actually with Kana yesterday all day. So I would like to think that we have this kind of similar direction that Studio Ghibli has, and that we kind of can expand on this, what Hayao Miyazaki did, and do something in similar direction, which is what I'm kind of aiming for with my art and with what Kana is aiming for with her art. So this is kind of a thing that we are kind of trying to push with. Yay! But whatever. Is my sound drastically lower than usual? I don't know. Let's make it bigger. A little bit. Okay. Christopher asks, have you ever been to Pigment in Shinagawa? If you've been, if it's any good for watercolor supplies. Actually, that's a good question, because we went with Kana to the Pigment store not so long ago, I think about 2 months ago. I wanted to go for a long time, and we managed to go. and I was really pleased about the store. It was a nice store with nice design, and it had a lot of supplies for the Japanese style of painting, so Nihonga, so a lot of pigments, because it's called pigment, with nice jars, and there's a whole wall of pigments that you can buy, and also kind of unique supplies for the Japanese painting style. So like mediums and glues and brushes and all kinds of papers and stuff. They did not have anything for watercolor artists, actually, that would be that would justify going there. If you are a watercolor artist, it's probably not worth going there. They had some watercolors that were weird, because it was like a rebranded version of the Polish, actually, watercolor brand, which is called Renaissance, and they had it rebranded with some Italian name, and they were really expensive. So I do not recommend going there if you are going to look for watercolors in Tokyo. If you are looking for watercolors in Tokyo, you can go to just Sekaido in Shinjuku, or you can go to Itoya in Ginza. Sekaido in Shinjuku has the most of the brands that are available in Japan. So Schminke, for example, Holbein, and all kinds of Talents stuff, and Darren Rowney and Winsor Newton. But Itoya has a little bit more expensive and rare things, like some French brands, like the honey-based one, Sennelier. But yeah, you can also buy their good brushes and all kinds of things. So I would recommend actually going to those two stores. There's also one in Ochanomizu, and there's also one in Jinbocho that you can go to. The one in Ochanomizu is called Lemon Gasui, and the one in Jinbocho, I don't remember how it's called. But if you look for it, you'll find it. Okay. Next question. This is actually a question I got before this thing started, and it's from Amanda. And I'll copy this question to the chat. And it's too long. Okay, I have to copy it into. Okay, from Amanda. From how do you know when to use line art and when do not to not with watercolors? Are there some things that you should always be unlined for realism? I have a tendency to line everything, and it ends up looking more cartoony. Usually I would line everything in my illustration series. The thing is that I would use a pencil for this, so I could control the thickness and the color of the lines using different pencils. So I would use really strong, smooth and soft pencils like 5B for things that are in the foreground, and I would use harder, like F grade pencils for things that are farther away. So I would kind of create this sense of distance using different weights of line. If you are using something different, like a pen or a multiliner, with multiliners you can do it also with the thickness of the line. But if you are using lines only of one thickness, yes, leaving stuff without the lines helps a lot to get this kind of distance feeling and create more depth in your pictures. There is no kind of rule that you could apply to your pictures, but I find that objects that are more hard surface, like buildings and cars, are better with lines, and trees, for example, because of the amount of details, and plants, all kinds of natural things are easier without lines also, but and this is something you have to think more in terms of the balance of the whole picture. If there is a tree in the foreground and you want to really kind of amplify how it looks and bring it to the foreground, a tree with lines and then a city without lines is also okay. So I think the whole thing is more about the balance of the picture than okay just trees without lines and buildings with lines. So it's more about the balance of the whole picture. It's also about distance from the thing. The more distant things are, the more details get kind of lost, and with paint drawing with lines, it's easier to kind of make it look cartoony if it's in the distance and has lines. I did some, I'll show you. I actually have it here. No. No, I don't know where I have it. Yeah. Yeah. I did some sketches that use this technique. For example, this one, the bridge in the front was all lined with a fine liner, I think 0.3 or something like that, and the buildings in the back were painted only with watercolors, and this works well for like only buildings, but also works well with like trees and nature stuff. So it's more important to think about the picture and the balance of the picture than just contents and what it is. Okay, so here is a second one, and this also has the buildings in with lines this time, but the background, the trees are without lines. So it's more about the focus point of your picture, the balance of your picture, than the like a rule. Here's. Okay, next question. I hope I was able to answer this one. The other method is also using some lines in your picture after you already painted it. So you can paint your picture, and then if you feel that some parts of it do not feel strong enough, you can add lines. For example, multiliners, so fine liners, will work well on watercolors. Watercolors, when applied to paper, they change this how ink behaves on the paper. So it's good to first test if your ink will not run on the water paper when it's after painting with watercolors. For example, fountain pen ink will kind of bleed on watercolors, even if it's working well on paper that's not painted on. Okay. Maybe you could post a little list of the shops you frequent around Tokyo on Patreon. That's a nice idea, actually. I could do it on my website, actually. I'm planning to do a list of books that I like and recommend on my website, and also share it on Patreon, but I first have to set up like Amazon links for Japan and for US. Then this is a bit of work that I don't have brains right now for. So probably next year somewhere I will do a list of my favorite books and something like that. Okay, next question from Neoviv. Today I was trying to get an electric sharpener. Can you share the brand and the model you use? Yeah, this is a difficult thing. Electric sharpeners are getting less and less popular, even in Japan, where sharpeners like Panasonic and stuff like that, and Mitsubishi were discontinued few years before I even started to look into this topic. So the guys from animation studio that still draw animation with pencils, for example, the animators from Studio Ghibli that came to the studio I was working at were really, how do we call it, in a pinch, because the pencil sharpeners that they were using were discontinued. I managed to find a pencil sharpener that works okay, and it's called, the brand is called Axis, and I will put it into the chat. Axis, and it's actually a standard like black one from this company, and the perfect solution would be to test one in a shop to see the shape of the graphite and the angle at which it like grinds the pencils, and if it's strong enough and stuff like that, and then buy one. But I know that it's not the case sometimes. Even in Japan, even in the biggest, like I think I bought it in Ginza in the Itoya store, and there were some ones that were battery powered and also powered from the mains. I have one that's powered in the mains. So it's really difficult. Even now, the only ones are like for kids, so they are like with Sailor Moon patterns and stuff, because kids still use them like in school and to sharpen their crayons and stuff like that. So you have like superhero ones and stuff like cartoon designs, but to get one that really works well in like a studio environment, it's getting harder and harder. So yeah, I can recommend the Axis one. I'll check the model. Okay, so I have a one that's called Axis A-03, but I don't know if you'll be still able to buy it. It was not so expensive, but I use it all the time. And I'm actually really pleased how it works. No, I bought this one, I think, for about $20, $30, I think, something like that. Max, I think $50. It was. Okay. If there are any questions, please write them in the chat. I think we will go for like 15 more minutes or something like that. But there is also one more point to today's Q&A session. This is the watercolor picture I did for the 100,000 followers on YouTube. Subscribers. I don't like the followers. And I decided to do this picture to kind of celebrate and also to test some stuff, as usually I do. And this is a bank. We found it with Kana. It's actually near the place we live, in like walking distance. And this one now is used as a community center in like as a storage space, but it once was a local bank branch, and so I wanted to recreate it as it would look like when it was still a bank. So I did like a nice 100,000 bank logo and some bars in the windows. We actually went inside We were allowed to go inside and just to look around. It's actually a ruin a little bit, and the windows are new, and the doors are kind of like also new, but we were able to go inside and to see some things. I found the windows inside that were like kind of boarded up but still visible from inside, so I did some photos to get the shape of the windows, and I took some photos of the stairs here and the doors to kind of check how it would look like. And I looked for a lot of pictures of banks, small banks from the Showa period and maybe a little bit more older. But actually, if you look for bank pictures in old like Japan, you will get a lot of pictures of stone buildings. And but so this was kind of interesting that it was not stone but more like a local branch, probably something like Shonan Ginko or something like that, so a local bank. Okay, so I did this picture. It's about of the size wait, I clicked something. So when I uploaded it to YouTube, it actually had the sign here, but it was a Photoshop thing, and this one actually does not have a sign and dedication. It's on nice watercolor paper, and I painted it using my usual Schminke watercolor set. So I asked you to put I want the bank in the comments if you want the original, and I have all your names here. So these are like the papers with your name. かなちゃんやる？ 9時。 So okay, so we will do now a small giveaway. This original picture, all your names are in this here, and I'll do the lottery. Okay, and I will do the lottery, and Kana will do the sound. Okay, I think I have one. Okay. And the picture goes to focus. No, focus.
Focus.
Okay. Congratulations to the winner, Valentin Michele.
Yay!
Yay! And to prove that you were all here, and just put like a all your names were here.
2つある。
よいしょ。Yay!
Congratulations!
Congratulations! Contact me about the dedication if you want any, or the sign if you want a sign, and I will send it to you after the New Year's break with all my Ticktail things. Okay. So the next question is, I'm happy that you're happy. Yay! Everyone is coming for the giveaway. Have you ever tried Shinhan watercolors? Today they were a sale in a local art store, and for 15 milliliter tubes they were like 0.8 USD each, which is really cheap. To try them out. No, I actually have not tried this brand yet. I actually did not know this brand yet. I will have to look into them, but I have been contacted by so many um, makers and so many brands lately that I don't actually have time enough to check all the watercolors that I have planned. So for now, on my list is the Nira Colori set. This is a small Italian maker that sent me some watercolors that I want to try. I have the Mielo Gold series, the single pigment set, which I also want to try, and probably I will use this set for my series of illustrations with the Tokyo trains that I want to do. So the Tokyo Arakawa line illustrations I will probably do not with Schminke, but from the next illustrations I will probably use the Mielo watercolors, and I also have been promised the watercolors from Talens. So this is a Japanese company that actually has few brands of watercolors and art supplies. They have the brand. Let me check. They have the brands Rembrandt and Van Gogh and Talens and Sakura. So in this kind of price steps. So the Rembrandts are the most expensive professional paints. The Van Gogh are more like student paints. And there are Talens and Sakura, which are the cheapest ones for kids. And I will be able to test the Rembrandt brand and show you how the paint behaves in just regular use. So this will be also interesting thing to test. But I don't want to put too many watercolor brands in my kind of hand, so I can kind of focus on using what I have, and especially on brands that I can buy and replenish in Japan. I'm using songs from a guy who's called Jesus, I forgot. Scott Buckley, and he makes music that you can download for free from his website, and this song is called Elementary. Okay, we are past 9. I think I'll be finishing this one. I still have to eat lasagna, and I still have to get ready for visiting Kana's parents. So I think I'll finish this one a little bit early than usual. I'll be seeing you in the next Q&A, and also I'll be uploading new stuff next year after I finish stuff for the Tokyo at Night book. I want to do a little bit more of the watercolor tutorials, and I also am looking into using other painting software other painting software than Photoshop, which is going to be more expensive next year. And I'm looking into Clip Studio and Affinity Photo. And if I like Clip Studio or Affinity Photo, maybe I'll do some brushes or tutorials or videos about this. I would like to wish you all Happy New Year 2019. I hope that it will be as good as the 2018. I think better, even more calm and without any strife. And I hope all your plans and all your New Year's resolutions will be fulfilled. Yay! Okay, thank you all for joining me today, and Happy New Year for me and Kana, and thank you for supporting me on Patreon and making my art come true, and making me able to realize my plans for this year. I'm really happy that you are here, and I'm really happy that I'm here with you, and I would like to show you more things in 2019. Okay, stay warm and Happy New Year. I'll see you in the next Q&A session. Where do I stop this? Here.